Natalie from the Energy Boutique with your energy forecast for May 2022. So on May 22nd, we have Mercury, the ruler of the mental plane, ruler of communication and information and how we express ourselves, move back into Taurus. So you may want to rewind to April 10th to be exact, when Mercury first moved into Taurus. Of course, Mercury moving into Taurus slows our thoughts down. We get a little bit back down to earth. We're definitely deliberate in how we think, how we are planning, how we speak, how we pretty much express ourselves. And of course, we had Mercury move into its place of power in Gemini on the 29th of April, the same day that Pluto went retrograde, right before our new moon, partial solar eclipse in Taurus. So when Mercury moved into its place of power in Gemini, we moved up to the mental plane. We had a lot of information come in. We had a lot of ideas come in. Of course, we had a lot of details emerge that we had to sort through, that we had to process. Things have been all up in the air, all up in the mental plane. And then, of course, Mercury had to go retrograde. Mercury's retrograde, of course, slows us down. We have to kind of review. We have to revisit some things. Kind of seeing it go retrograde in its place of power in Gemini means that we were positioned to debate two very extreme choices, extreme decisions, options, and paths. So that just took place on the 10th of May, the same day that Jupiter moved into Aries. So we have had a couple of days to actually look back. And for many of us, although we're tired of looking back, although we're tired of the old, although we're tired of the memory flashes and just dealing with old cycles and old systems, we do have to look back and gain perspective and understanding from our past experiences, pluck out the wisdom, pluck out the knowledge before we're actually able to move forward. Now, as frustrating as this is, it is part of the process. Now, with Mercury moving back into Taurus, and just keep in mind that Mercury and the Sun met up, aspected one another, had this huge illumination on what it is we had to kind of pluck from our past in order to make strategic plans for our future before moving back into Taurus energy. So now back into Taurus energy, and we will be here until June 13th, we will kind of slow things down again. We're taking all of the chaos, all of the craziness that transpired with the eclipse portal, with the retrograde, with the information and details that just got revealed to us that definitely threw a wrench into our plans. And now we got to get back down to earth. We got to get back down to the nitty gritty. We're putting the blinders on. We're sorting things out. We are using logical and practical understandings and perspectives to come up with a plan on what it is that we're going to do moving forward, now that we are plucking the silver linings out of the past situations and scenarios. So this Taurus energy does slow our mental plane down. And we just got out of Taurus season. We are just fresh into Gemini season. Of course, Mercury rules over Gemini, and Mercury being retrograde, moving back into Taurus, is likely going to take us back to the semi-beginning of April, where we have to retrace our steps in all that has transpired with a fresh set of eyes. This is going to lead us to have new revelations, new realizations, new epiphanies. That's definitely going to help build the framework, build the strategy on what it is that we need to do to logically and practically make a plan in moving forward. So we can't rush this process. As many of us just wants to jump in because, of course, we have Jupiter, the planet of growth, planet of improvement and progress in Aries that just wants to hit the ground running and act now and worry about the consequences later. That's that impulse. That's that push. But we can't do that. with Mercury in Taurus. We have to take our time. We have to think rationally. We have to bring it back down to earth, bring it into the body, feel in our gut how we feel about certain concepts, certain ideas, certain conversations that likely popped off in our personal relationships that absolutely threw a wrench into where it is we thought we would be at this time. So we have some reworking to do. And because we're in a retrograde, we have to use all those rewords. We have to repair certain relationship dynamics. We have to repeat certain conversations that didn't go well. We have to reorganize our strategy, our routine, our plans. We have to recalibrate our perspective, our understanding, our energy. We have to essentially revise all that has happened, re-edit it, reposition ourselves so that we have a better understanding that everything that popped off, that kind of felt a little bit crazy, happened for us, not happened to us. This understanding, this foundation is going to help us move forward in a very strategic and calculated way. So again, I'm going to ask that you go back and listen to Mercury when the astro forecast, when Mercury first moved into Taurus, because it's all the same vibe. The only difference is that Mercury is retrograde. So now we're retracing our steps in that way. And we just have to understand that this is like a second chance. This is a second opportunity to make things right, if you will. And we're moving into a very interesting week. If you haven't listened to the ascension forecast for the week, I'm going to recommend that you do so. But having Mercury move back into Taurus as we have Mars moving into his place of power in Aries, and then Venus moving into Taurus as well at the end of the week, her place of power, this is an opportunity to rebalance the scales. But we have to do the reflection, the review, the revision, so that we know the strategy that we want to take when we're given the green light go ahead to actually move forward. So to kind of give you a bigger perspective, let's say, on what this is all about, on June 3rd, we will have Mercury go direct, and it will be going direct in Taurus energy at 26 degrees. And when we have Mercury come direct, of course, we're going to have a couple of weeks of that post-shadow period. But then we kind of get into the fact that Mercury starts moving forward, and we get to apply the knowledge, the wisdom, the perspective, the understanding that we've gained through this retrograde period, through this reflective period, to our lives. And then we have this constant moving forward. That's when Mercury, we're looking forward now. We're no longer stuck in the past. Then what happens is that Mercury is going to re-enter Gemini energy on June 13th. And then we're going to have to retrace our steps in this Gemini energy. Is this a bad thing? No, but it is going to position us to really get heavy on the debate that is needed in our mental plane. Again, we're being faced with choices, decisions, and paths that we have to think very carefully about. We are coming out of this eclipse energy that was a wild card energy that forced us into a situation, into circumstances that maybe we wouldn't have chosen for ourselves, but our higher selves wrote it into our script. So this is where we're at. We have a choice. Are we going to stick with the same old, and revolve around the same old topics and themes and soul contracts and relationships, getting the exact same outcome that we've always got? Or are we going to evolve, push the boundaries, push the barrier, enter into new territory, adopting a new method, a new behavior, a new perspective, a new way of actually dealing with the circumstances that, of course, have been popping off, that replicates similar situations that we faced in the past? Now we get a chance to do things differently. Now we get a chance, after the review, after the reflection, after the repair, the revision, we get to rewrite the story that kind of got a little bit cray-cray for us mid-April up until now. So the whole Mercury story is going to take us into June. And June is also a very interesting month for us. A lot of upgrades, a lot of enlightenment, a lot of awareness, a lot of evolvement. And it is really up to us to get our mind right, to get our narrative right, to get our focus and our ideas right. And of course, Mercury being in this Taurus energy, grounding us out, putting the blinders on, having us focus on what is most important, especially when it comes to the foundations that we've been trying so hard to bring to life in our routines, in our relationships, in our money matters, that we didn't get to bring to life in Taurus season because we've had a little bit of a challenge, a little bit of a block with that eclipse energy with these retrogrades. So now we get to refocus. This is our second chance to recalibrate, restructure, reorganize our thoughts, our narrative, and focus on what is most important.